Hey guys, I'm here with the new ESM 88-inch ME109. Getting ready to get started on the cockpit. I thought I'd go ahead and just show you a side picture of it. Looks like they did a really good job with it. The paint scheme looks good. I did see where they didn't put the G bulges on there. They are an accessory in the package. You have to glue them on. So you can actually turn around and make this all the way from a F model up to a G model. So if you wanted to repaint it, you could and not have the same one everybody else does. Anyway, the cockpit's going to be kind of like the one for the ESM P40. The whole top here comes off, and then your radio compartment's underneath. But we're going to try to make it fit in there so we can not have to move too much around. The canopy comes. It's actually, the canopy is too large for me to make reproductions of it. So like I told you before in post, whenever you cut this canopy out, you need to be running it under hot water. I mean, I'm talking about as hot of water as you get. These things really don't start melting until over 150 degrees, and I doubt you have your water that hot. Anyway, unless you have it really nice and warm, this plastic does fracture as you cut it. And this one, I had been running under hot water, and I still had a break right here, and I'm gonna have to replace the canopy. But anyway, be sure to run it under. I'd set with a high light, a bright light, and be running hot water on it right as I cut it. It makes it really nice and easy to cut as you do that. But anyway, it goes right on here. Like I said, I'm gonna take this top off, and I'm gonna show you where I'm gonna start cutting. And we'll move right along to the installing the cockpit. Okay, here we are with the cockpit deck, and what I've done is kind of laid out this tape I've got. It's a little bit darker than normal, plus it's a dark paint. Anyway, I've got this laid out. I'm 7 3/8 inches back from the dash here, 7 3/8 to the front of this line here. And what I've done on the side, I always say you cut to the inside and then we can work our way out. What I've done is I've taken a piece of 1/4 inch, this is basswood, and I just used it because it's 1/4 inch wide. And what I've done is this cockpit deck has an indentation here. This is where the sides come down. It comes back at an angle a little bit. So what I've done is I've taken this 1/4 inch piece and I have made it flush with the sides here along the back. All right, flush here, and then I push it all the way forward, but it's flush back here, and I've drawn a line on towards the inside all the way up. And what that does, it gives you a 1/4 inch lip here, and then the indent, it drops down to about an 1/8 inch, and then it goes back out. Okay, but my initial cut is going to be to the inside of this line. So back here at the back, it'll be 3/8 inches wide. Now I'm going to start with that, and as the video goes along, I'll show you if I may move all the way out here to the 1/4 inch line. But I'm going to cut this. For now, I'm going to leave the dash, because as you can see, when I put this on, I have a good 1/4 inch until I get to the windscreen here. And on the real plane, the dash would have been right inside that windscreen. So anyway, I'm going to leave this here. We may mount our dashboard directly to this, and that'll give you a good back plate to start. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get this cut out, and then we'll come back and go from there. Okay guys, here we are back. I've got the area cut out, and what I wanted to show you was I ended up, like I said, if you come from this back corner, I put that 1/4 inch piece. What I do is I have some 3M tape. I have some 1/4 inch wide and some 1/8 inch. Well, what I did on the inside of that 1/4 inch line I drew from the back here, it actually makes it 3/8 inches wide. Well, I went ahead and, like I said, I always cut less so I can, if I have to, I can move it towards the edge later because it's hard to add it back. Anyway, I cut on the inside of that 1/8 inch piece of tape, so that gives you 3/8 inches out here, and then it goes straight forward, and it kind of tapers on the inside up here where the canopy attaches, but start 3/8 and it goes straight forward from there. Anyway, I have left it that way. I'm not going to cut any more than that. Originally I talked about cutting it down to a 1/4 inch wide, but the 3/8 inch is going to work best. This cockpit goes together pretty easily. There's the cockpit all together, and what this does, this cockpit still allows, it does not interfere where you have to cut any of the servo tray. You will have to move your elevators and your rudder servos down lower, down in the lower part of the fuselage here, but that should be easy for you to do. Anyway, but this still allows you not have to do anything cutting as far as inside the fuselage. This one goes together pretty easily. I'll show you that it locks in there. I'll show you how to cut it in just a minute. But if you'll cut the dimensions, just like I said, see, it just drops right in place, and you can glue it. And it's, you know, about ready to glue in there. First I paint it. But anyway, what you do is, you're going to get, I did this one a little bit different. You're going to get 3 separate pieces. You get the floor. You're going to get the right side and the left side. Okay, I did them separate because it's easier to get this one installed that way. But what I'm going to show you on either side, this is the one that hasn't been cut on yet. I end up cutting away all the flashing all the way around. You can see where I just barely got a lip there. All right, what we do now, as you can see on this one, I'm coming in and I'm removing from this back edge here. I'm coming in about 3/8. You can cut it at a 1/4 and always move it forward, but don't start up at a 1/2 because then you've cut too much. So start at about a 1/4 inch, and what you're going to do is cut this straight back, and then you're going to relieve it. You cut that piece, and you're going to just barely relieve the edge of it, and then notch it all down. This goes behind the deck on the cockpit, so it doesn't really matter. But the main thing is come from that back edge in a 1/4, and like I said, you can trial fit it, and mine worked out to about 3/8 of an inch out this way. And I did the same thing on this side. You just work your way in till you get the distance you want from the back to fit inside this lip that you made. Okay, now on the front, the way this fits in, we're coming in here, and you can see the front here, it's got the lip. We're making a slit, making a cut right there just along that edge. Okay, we're just going to make a cut. All right, then we're going to come down here and we're just move about a 1/16 of an inch, and we're just cutting that 1/16 of an inch away. And what this does, this allows it to come over the lip and go inside, so you can see that it easily fits in there. And what this does, just allows this to go inside the lip of that deck there. See how it fits in? And then the other side the same way. And like I said, you just have to trial fit it and get the distances you want. Now you want to leave this, the top part, till about a 1/4 inch thick. Now this is still a little bit wide, I hadn't trimmed it yet, but if you just leave it till about a 1/4 inch, if you want to go the full 3/8 you can, but a 1/4 inch, and that'll give you a surface to glue this to. Okay, now once you have those parts cut out there, I'd trial fit them onto the deck here. Now the front lip here goes right up against where the dash is, so that's what you want to gauge it by. This front lip going on the deck here, and you want that on both sides. Now the floorboard, you can see I have an indentation here. It comes up and it indents down. This floorboard comes in here, and you're going to end up gluing it directly. It locks right up against it. You're going to glue it directly to this at 90 degrees, and you want it to be flush here at the front. Okay, it may not be, on this one it is, but I'm mainly going to say gauge it up to the front here. All right, you're going to end up gluing that. Now, to glue these, you need to make sure you get rid of all the flashing on here so it ends up being flush against this side back here. Okay, so what you're going to do is take and glue that one, and then after we get the opposite side cut, we're just going to come in here and we're going to glue it on just like that. And that makes it really quick. And once if you've got the lips cut right, it'll just lock right in place. Okay, let me stick this one back in real quick. Okay, well, I had this taped earlier. I need to probably put some tape back on it. But anyway, once that's in place, the dash I have, let me get one. The dash I have will be on a plane like this. What you need to do is you can come in here with a 1/16 inch balsa or like a 1/16 aircraft ply, and you'll coat the back of it and then clean it off all the way around. We need to make it thin because it's gonna mount on the front of this dash here. Let's see if I can get this moved around. And what this does, you can see two dimples here and one here. This comes in and it's gonna come up and just pull right up into place, and it pushes these sides apart. And this dash will end up being glued directly to the front here. Now, you can see that when you put this on, it covers up anything you would see as far as this overlap here. I went with a pretty close to a scale shape on the dash, and you won't be able to see where it doesn't touch once you get this on. Once you get that all cut out and ready to go, now I've done two different things. This plane is halfway between, well, it's in between a 1/4 and 1/5 scale. And I have a 1/4 scale pilot and I have a 1/5 scale pilot. And what I've done is I've made a chair so you can trim it to whichever pilot you want. For a 1/4 scale, this chair will sit directly all the way on the bottom of the cockpit. You may have to put maybe like a 1/8 inch piece of balsa on the bottom to set it on. But the 1/4 scale pilot, we'll go in here and sit all the way down. I need to tape that again. But he'll sit down on the bottom of that chair and still fit. If you get him pushed all the way down, I can't push hard because of this. You can get the canopy on there. And I've got pictures online. Some people like the 1/4 scale and some like the 1/5 scale. But it barely touches, his head touches the top of the canopy there. Now on the 1/5 scale pilot, you're gonna have to take a 3/4 inch block. Now this is a hardwood, I just use it as a spacer, but you use a piece of balsa and you glue that down and then you chair to it, and you'll have to trim the chair up to where it's more flush with this back deck here. And then the 1/5 scale pilot, if I don't push him down too, will fit in there. And see, he doesn't touch, but it needs a 3/4 inch to get him level to where where he would sit. Okay, but that's the difference on the chair itself. As far as the headrest goes, the headrest is a one piece of plastic, and let me get one of those. And I don't have another one. Anyway, it's one piece of plastic. You want to trim it to where it has no flashing around it. And it's made on 1/4 inch, made out of 1/4 inch. So once you trim it, you want to leave it as thick as you can get it, or leave it. And then you take it and fill the back of it with balsa. Okay? And what you do is you fill it with balsa and glue that in, and then trim away the excess plastic and sand it flush. And there will be enough plastic in there that you can cover the back with the plastic and then trim it and make it a nice solid headrest. Now the headrest will go right behind the seat here. One thing you need to do is on the seat back here is add maybe a 3/4 inch wide by 1/4 inch thick or 3/8 inch thick piece of balsa and glue it to the bottom of the deck. That way you can take and drill a couple holes and put like toothpicks in the bottom of this into this, and especially if you have a gas motor that shakes a lot, this will kind of make this nice and rigid so it doesn't vibrate and pop loose. I also have a headrest. I do not have one loose, but it's a molded piece that has sides and it comes back at an angle, but you have to cut it out as this second part of the armored headrest, and it will be glued to the back of it, and you need to trim it to where it's not touching the canopy top, but you glue it along the back. And the real one was a 2-part, so you just need to cut it and slide it down to where it is not coming in contact with the top of the canopy when it's in place. Okay, that goes over a really fast installation of the cockpit, how it goes together. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and take this one. I'm gonna this was my prototype. I'm gonna put another one together real quick, and I'm gonna go ahead and paint it up and show you what it looks like. Like I was telling you earlier, you need to really make sure when you cut that canopy, you use really hot water to get that to go on there with. But let me get this all painted up, and I'll come back and I'll show you any of the little extra stuff I put in there, and we'll go from there. Okay guys, I figured I'd show you how I cut this real quick, because sometimes I don't explain things so well. I just soon show you. Okay, this is the right side. I've already got it marked. Like I said, you can start here at the 1/4 and work your way out this way. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it because I've already measured against my last one. Anyway, I'm coming across here and making a cut straight across. Okay, I cut that, and then I'm coming in here and I'm cutting this. I made the cut there. I'm cutting this around the corner here and cutting that out to that point. Okay, so now you can see I have cut around the corner and cut that piece out. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to come down here and I'm just going to cut just about, let's say maybe a 1/16 of an inch, and this allows us to get down below the deck itself, so the deck will slide in between this and here. Okay, now the front, what we're doing is we're coming right up against this edge here, right up against it. We'll make one cut across here. We're just relieving that. Okay, now the rest of our cut will be down here on the end. We're coming off the end, and we're going to take about a 1/16 of an inch, and we're going to take that straight across, about 1/16 of an inch all the way across. I'm cutting this one out because I'm going to get ready to paint this one itself for the to install. Okay, you can see where I have cut that, and what that does, you just relieving enough for the thickness of the deck here. So it's about 1/16 inch thick, and what you can do is you can cut this, and if it doesn't fit in there really easily, you can remove just a little bit more. But once this comes in, you should be able to just take it and slide it in there. See, it just slid right in place, front and back. Now see, I've cut just a tad too much. That's why I say start at a 1/4 and work your way out. Anyway, I got that one done. Now, one thing you do need to do is take you a pencil and make a nice straight mark. Make this about a 1/4. You start at 3/8 if you want, and make you a nice straight mark across here, and then cut this off. I'm gonna freehand this one here because I can always cut more off later. But you're gonna just try to cut in a nice straight line all the way across. I am cutting this just a tad wide. But I just want to show you, you may have to go from each end, but you want to cut that straight so it will fit. And you can remove enough until it fits inside this line here, because we're going to end up taking this and gluing it down on this piece here. Okay, so I've got that one cut out. We're going to go cut the other side out exactly the same, and then I'm going to paint it. One thing you may want to consider is when you get ready to paint, put your piece of tape across here, so when you end up gluing the base to it, that you have the plain plastic and not gluing through paint. Also, you may want to put a piece of tape just along this edge here so it keeps the plastic. So when you end up gluing it, you're gluing plastic to plastic, not plastic going through the paint. Okay, and then you do the same thing to this side here. Okay, just put a piece of tape across this as you paint it. All right, I'm gonna get the rest of this cut out. I'm gonna go ahead and get it painted, and we'll start getting this thing finished up. Okay guys, here I am. I've got all the parts painted. I use the Model Master paint. I use the RLM. Grab it real quick. I use the Model Master paint. I use the RLM 74. The actual interior color on a lot of these was actually a darker color, but I like the looks of this. You can still see inside. You can still see some of the detail. On the Model Masters, this is the half-ounce bottle. I thin this with acetone, and I thin it pretty thin, and it takes one whole bottle just to paint this. I would go ahead and buy 2 bottles because I really thin it down. If you don't thin it like I do, you'll run out and not have enough to finish the cockpit itself. So possibly 2 bottles of the RLM 74 from the Model Master paint. Okay, anyway, I've got it all painted. We're getting ready to put it together. I did, like I was talking about, put the piece of tape across the bottom and painted it and left this so I can glue it to the sides. You can see here some of the detail. There is a gauge thing that goes right here. It'll be included in the kit. This round piece is molded right into this side. So I just made a hole in it, and included will be some just lead solder, and there's another piece here that is the gauge, is like the valve for the oxygen system, and then there's a the little knob or handle on it. There's 2 of those included. But anyway, you can route this whichever way you want. Now the knobs on the backs of them, they're pretty thick, and I took a drill and I drilled them out a little thin so they slid down onto the pieces. You'll be able to see those, and I'll have more pictures online. Anyway, I just painted this. The fuel line was a yellow, and then it had a place where they could see the fuel actually running through here in this part. The other side, you just have your throttle. There was a secondary throttle, and then there was a latch here, I think, that did the canopy or something like that. The flap wheel, it's 2 pieces. There's 2 wheels, and there's a holder. I went ahead and glued that in place onto the base. You need to figure out where you want it, and then this glues in and goes really close up against the side. You need as close as you can to the side so you have enough room for the chair to go in the middle. Okay, the dash is cut out. The back of it was covered with balsa. This is 16th inch balsa and then sanded flush. The gauges, if you look online, I do have a video that shows how to cut the gauges out, or actually how to paint a cockpit, one of mine. And so I've got all this painted and the gauges installed, just ready to go in. The gun sight is just pretty self-explanatory. You have to put 2 lenses on it. And I had to make a standoff, just made it out of like it looks like a 1/4 by 1/4 piece of wood to make a standoff to get it away from the edge get it far enough back from the windscreen itself. Anyway, I've got these things put together, or got them all painted. I'm gonna put this together real quick, and we'll go through installing it finished into the plane itself. So I'm gonna get that stuff together, and then I will be right back. Okay guys, here we have the cockpit deck, or the cockpit base, all glued together. You got the sides glued on. and ready to go. I did want to show you something really quick. The right side of the cockpit, two resin pieces that go on. There is a piece right here, and it's like the valve for the oxygen system. This piece is molded in, and what you'll be supplied with is some flexible solder. It's just regular resin core solder. And what you have to do is take this piece here and drill a hole in each end. So the solder will go in, and you can just CA that inside there. But you bring it out, pull it around, and drill a hole right here and stick it in. Wherever this blue line is how you should route it. Coming in here, it comes back out of the top, over the top, and down this panel here. I just want to show you where I put that. Also, there will be supplied two knobs, one for here and one for here. And the knobs are pretty thick, like I said before. What you need to do is turn them over and drill. Don't drill all the way through them, but just hollow them out a little bit so they fit a little bit deeper down on these two pieces. There's also a gauge that goes on here. You can see where I've marked it in blue pen. This is a triangular piece. You'll find a smooth portion, that's the top where it was poured. You'll end up sanding that down, and it goes right here at an angle. Okay, you can either paint this before putting on, or I painted it just a slight different gray than the RLM 74 because I wanted it to stand out a little bit. And then you put your dials inside of it, or your gauges inside of it once you're through. But I wanted to show you where to put those parts on there, because showing it on from here, it is kind of quick, and you might not be able to see it as well. Okay, you can see I've got my gauges in here. But anyway, once you got this all glued together, this goes together pretty easily. I have gone in here, and you can see back here I have glued a this is like a 3/8 by a half, or 3/8 by 3/8 piece of wood in here, just along the back side. And what I have done, I have relieved just a little bit more down this way, so this would fit in place. Now this will eventually be painted. You can actually slide the plastic that'll go along the back of here, and it'll actually go up on the inside, and you won't see any of this. But this makes this rigid. Also gives you a place for the headrest to go into. I have made it where it will, once you glue it to the base there, you can slide it all the way down. Okay, I'll show you that in just a minute. But anyway, you got your main cockpit deck here. We're going to take, and this just slides in place. Let's see if I'm down far enough. All right, like we showed before it was painted, this just slides in place, and we're going to take some tape and just temporarily hold this just so you can see. And we're going to tape it all the way around. Okay, now you can see this makes one solid unit. You will come in here, and like I said, you'll have a piece of plastic, enough plastic to go in here and make this a solid square, or make it solid. You just glue it along the backs and around the sides, and you can actually slip it up under here, and so you won't be able to see the wood itself. But you want to glue that plastic here. On the front, you can, if you're gonna put a pilot in and the pilot's legs are long, you can just make that down about halfway and let the pilot's legs push off to the front. But we wanted to leave enough room here that it doesn't touch anything up front, and also doesn't affect how we hook this up to the fuselage itself. Anyway, once you got all that and got it all glued in, then we'll come in here. We got the dash, like I showed you before. It's got the piece of boss on the back. Now I did take that gun sight and that block of wood we put on before, and I just took my fingers and I held it in place and drilled through this back plate into the wooden block and put a toothpick on it. And eventually we'll glue that in, and that toothpick will make it nice and rigid, so just vibration won't make that fall off. But anyway, this goes in really easily. all you have to do, see it actually glues to the dash. I haven't done it, but you can paint this solid black. But anyway, this just comes in. You got to push it back, and it comes up between the two sides, and the two notches on each side slides up into the square pieces here, and it just comes up. And I got tape on there right now, and just it presses into place. The dash goes in there very easily. Like I was I believe I said earlier, the seat. If you're going to use a quarter scale pilot, you just need to take a piece of 1/4 inch balsa. You can glue it to the bottom, and it comes in here and just sets all the way down on the bottom, and it should come flush up to the back here. Okay, for the seat. Now for the 5th scale pilot, like I said, I was using a 3/4 inch block. You just need to tailor it to whatever pilot you're doing, and that makes it come up a little higher. And what you'll have to do is end up trimming the seat to fit flush. All right. Once you got all that done, now the headrest, like I was saying, what I did before I put the wood on there, I held this in place, centered, and I drilled 2 pilot holes up through there, through the base into this, so they would fit perfectly. And then I just took 2 toothpicks, and after I had done that, I glued the piece of wood in there, and then re-drilled those holes all the way through the wood. Now this headrest slides right down in place, and it's nice and sturdy. So you got the seat and the headrest. Now the armor plate for the headrest, you just have to cut it out, and it glues to the back of the headrest. I've got it taped on there right now, but I've got 5/8 of this sticking up above the top of the headrest here, or the armored headrest here. I still haven't painted the padding itself, but all this fits inside the canopy. You have just a little bit of clearance. Have a little bit of clearance here, and also the gun sight clears the front of the windscreen. Okay, so that goes together pretty easily. That makes a whole unit. This will all come off. You do have to mount your servos for your elevator and rudders down a little bit lower, but you don't have to cut anything in the plane itself to install this. So this makes a nice unit. It comes down in here, even if you have to, I haven't looked at the instructions. Come in here and slide that in place, and it'll make a nice solid unit. Let me pull it up where you can see it. But like I said, it'll all pull out. When you get ready to glue it in, glue all this in permanently, you do need to reinforce the bottom. Wherever the pilot is, I'd put a piece of wood across here, and maybe one across here. This would make it more sturdy for the seat, especially if you're pressing down on it. And then just make sure you glue it in really well, and making the box out of it will make it nice and sturdy. This will be available through VQ Warbirds. I'll have them to him here shortly. It makes a nice addition to the airplane. I did want to show you, when the dash comes in here, you can see a little bit of this coming off the side, but most 109s have the piece of fuselage that comes back this way. Once the canopy's on, which this is built into the canopy, you can't see that little space there, especially if you paint it black. But anyway, like I said, it makes a nice addition to the airplane. I hope this video helps, and I hope you enjoy building your cockpit, and this is the end.